Folks, welcome to the circus. It's another episode of Top 9 Podcast. My name's Tom Cassidy. Back from the Ale House is Adele Carollo, a few minutes late, coming in with attitude. She wasn't here last week, and then she's like, this isn't the right way to start when I'm 3 minutes late, and I got drunk last week, and that's why I wasn't at the podcast.
Can I respond?
Explain yourself. Yes, please,
so
Miss
as
Thing.
I'm walking down the hall, he starts like this, holding his watch. For
Couple
you folks
minutes
at
late.
home who are not watching this on video, he's tapping his imaginary watch, shaking his head, judging me for being 3 minutes late, which I gave him an update when I was one stop away.
I said this to my father a couple weeks ago, and I'm going to say it to you now. Tighten it up, okay?
Wait, doesn't your father say that to you?
No, he used to,
Yeah.
but now I say it to him.
That's interesting.
Tighten it
Isn't
up.
it funny how the dynamic changes with your parents? You end up taking care of.
Don't deflect. And yes, and speaking of parents, our guest today is the grandparent of comedy, my friend, Barry Ribs.
Hi, and it's Grandpa. Thank you.
I thought you were Doc Brown, to be totally honest.
Did we
You've
have to go
gotten
with
that
that
before, huh?
that hacky shit?
I guess that is the most hacky for you. 'Cause,
I've been hearing that since 1990.
Really? It's like, it just came to me. Sorry about it.
Yeah,
No, it's okay.
yeah.
You see him at the stand sometimes, right? Asking for
do.
change and stuff.
I see him around the club for sure.
Give him a spot sometime.
Okay.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Anyway.
Yo, we've met over. Yeah, I got it now.
Yeah, she's the one who says, please leave, sir.
Hi, Adele. Yo, now you're always nice to me and shit, but one of your dudes there yelled at me because I went to the bathroom that was kind of blocked and stuff. We're not going to mention names. He was mad disrespectful, but then he kind of apologized.
Wait a minute, hold on. He got mad at you for going to a bathroom that was not open?
It was like barricaded and stuff. But, you
So
know, I'm
you-
a grandpa. I need the fucking bathroom, man. Adele would have understood.
I probably wouldn't have let you go either. There's probably something wrong with the toilet that you couldn't.
No, it was the COVID shit.
So
or whatever.
Barry
It was
took
the
a-
beginning of that pandemic.
Barry took a shit in a broken toilet, and he's mad at the person for telling him not to do
No, I
that.
never really go. Is that number 2? I never do that publicly. I'm a grown-ass man.
I don't do
Now
that
I know
ever.
who you are.
Hi,
All
yeah.
right, Barry, keep it down for a second.
She's very nice to me, man.
She's a nice woman. She's often misunderstood, like we all are. I'd
Yeah.
say all three of
Yeah,
us.
That is true. That is true. Can I go home now, or we just began?
We just began 2 minutes ago, Barry. Take it easy. I want to ask Adele something before we get into your list.
Yeah.
Because we mentioned the stand. It was a big weekend at the stand.
Sure was.
Chappelle was there.
He was.
He did a lot of sets. You got me in the one night. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Anytime. As soon as I spotted you, I was like, oh, you got to go get tested.
And I said last week, I said, anytime I'm about to fire you from this podcast, you invite me to a cool party. And then what you did was slap me. So it's very interesting how men and women dynamics work to where I say a joke and you physically assault me. I am fired up today. I'll tell you that much.
It was more like a knee-jerk reaction.
Uh-huh.
You threatened to fire me. That's how upsetting that would be to me.
That's like me being like, hey, Adele, could I get a spot at the stand once in the next year? And you were like, no, and I slapped you. That's not how it works. Don't touch me, all right?
Hands to myself, I promise, never again.
But anyway, it was a great show that I went to. That was super awesome.
Yeah.
Black Thought came up and rapped. That was really cool, too.
Yeah, it was his birthday.
I'll always remember that, so thank you for including me in it.
You're
That
welcome.
being said, I went on Sunday. I was there for like 10 minutes, and I was like, I was already here last night. I left, and then Kanye West came.
Yeah, you got to be in it to win it, Tom. You left.
Barry, do you know who Kanye is?
Oh yeah. And years ago,
Mm-hmm.
a wannabe comedian. Can you
Okay.
say that
A
differentiate?
female comedian.
I knew a song on the radio and/or artist, and she asked me a dumb question like, "How do you know?" Yo, I have ears. I listen to the fucking radio. I don't like to get facially profiled by dumb-ass questions.
Well, thank God you're not getting voice profiled because you sound like a black guy. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I was born and raised in the Crown Heights section of Brooklyn.
I asked him if he knows who Kanye West is, and now he's going
He's
into his
giving us
fucking
the reason
bio.
why he knows who Kanye is.
Okay.
The
Thank you, Adele. That's my ally
You're welcome,
here.
Adele. She
Yo.
is your ally.
I wouldn't even know some of the obscure names, but
Sure.
what do you say? Sure. Don't talk for me.
Please go on.
Kanye's huge. You have to know Kanye. Who does not know
Exactly,
Kanye?
but I may know some of the obscure names. Like,
Okay.
do you know who Luke Bryan is?
No, you might know more people than me. Sometimes I'm
Do you
like,
know-
who?
You know who Luke Bryan is?
Isn't it a country singer?
Yes.
What
you
does
got a
that
bell?
have to do with rap?
Well, my point is this, that I just discovered him. I didn't realize the dude has like 10, 20 million followers, whatever. I'm a big Luke Bryan fan. Shout out to Luke Bryan. Does he listen in at all?
All right, let me put you on ice for a minute.
Gotcha.
So, Kanye came. What time did Kanye get there?
Okay,
I
so
want to know
Kanye
what time he got there.
there.
How many minutes I missed him by?
I will tell you exactly what happened real quick.
Okay.
It was like 2 a.m.
Take your time. We're not worried about Barry. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay,
So he came at 2?
Yeah, so the last
Okay.
time Chappelle was in town, Kanye was supposedly coming. So we got all excited and hyped. This time they said Kanye is coming, and I didn't get hyped. I didn't believe it. I was like, I'll believe it when I see it. When we're partying and having a good time, and I do get loose and have fun with everyone and my staff, I do still like never really sit down. I'm like doing laps. So my
Sure.
staff thinks at any moment I could turn the corner.
You're kind of like the party mom kind of
yeah,
to a certain
little bit.
extent.
I'm the host of the party.
Party older sister.
So I'm like watching,
Yeah.
making sure no one's getting ahead, no one's sick, no one's falling. Like, so I'm doing a lap. I go upstairs. It's quiet, dead, and I see someone come across the windows with his head down and walk in the door. And right behind him is a regular customer that. He's a sweetheart, but he couldn't come into the party because he just was a civilian, like couldn't come down, but he was hanging out outside in hopes that Michael Che or someone who recognized him because he's friendly with some comics because he's always at the stand and he's a loyal customer. He's a great guy. Anyway, so he notices it's Kanye. So he goes, Adele, it's Kanye. And it's literally just Kanye. No security, no
Wow.
anybody. I don't even know how he found the door, meaning like it was dark. Like he just pulled up.
It was just him.
Just him.
I had a feeling I was just going to run into him that night.
just him.
Okay.
You don't think he has security somewhere around?
I think security was
The rooftops? Snipers?
No, I really don't. They never
Okay.
came. You know, the security that watched them. Oh, he had a car eventually pull up, and that's who took him away.
Wow, that's strange,
But he
isn't
walked
it?
in by himself,
It is.
and he's hustling, walking quickly down the past the bar towards the dining room, and I. Get up to him and I said, "Hi, Kanye. I'm Adele. I'm the manager here. I could take you to Dave."
That's how you'd address him, Kanye.
Kanye.
Okay.
Yeah. What did I say?
Yeah.
I
No,
don't
no,
fucking
no,
know.
that's
I'm a
fine.
fucking nerd.
Definitely
so-
not ye. 'cause
Yeah,
it's
definitely not.
yay.
Oh,
Thank
Adele,
God
you're
you
the
didn't do
general
that.
you're the general manager,
I
like
am.
numero uno.
Numero no.
Man,
HBIC.
I'll tell you, you're going to be getting a lot of DMs from this guy over the next fucking
No,
6
because-
months to a
no,
year, just so you know.
Somebody there who'll be nameless said, "I'm not ever booking you." Continue.
Okay.
His name's
okay.
Patrick Milligan, and he's the booker. Go ahead,
Yeah.
continue.
Shout out to
So
Patrick.
I say, "Hey, Kanye," and he looked at me and I said, "I'm Adele. I'm the manager here." So like I had to tell him that
Sure.
this is normal. I'm talking to you. It's okay. And he was so friendly. He's like, "Hi, nice to meet you." Took out his hand.
I would have passed out probably at that point.
And we were still
Boy,
in
you're
motion.
a fanboy.
I
Go
love
ahead, I'm sorry.
Kanye, man. I love Kanye. I'm not going to... Barry, I got to keep it real. You got to keep it
I
real.
like Kanye. I like Kanye.
I'm trying to keep it
Continue,
real,
Adele.
Barry.
I got you.
So we were still like in motion, walking
Sure.
as we were talking.
Heading downstairs.
Heading downstairs.
Are you floating at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember, but it's at least 30 seconds.
Now, does
right?
he
You
seem
know
like
the
he's in a
club.
good mood?
Yes.
The pictures, he look kind of angry, but maybe he just
He's-
gets angry for
oh
the
my God,
pictures.
I could show you a picture that didn't go public yet. You're gonna die.
Okay, I can't wait.
Okay. Anyway.
Anyway.
So we're going down the stairs, and then I bring him to Dave, and Dave embraces him, whatever. But he doesn't go on stage right away. He sits down on a chair next to the stage, which, P.S., my staff and I all signed and wrote Kanye was here.
Okay.
Underneath
Just
it.
a regular chair?
Regular chair.
Okay,
the
regular
blue
stand chair. Okay.
Stand chair.
Gotcha.
Sat there, was probably sitting for like 15, 20 minutes. He was scrolling through his phone a little bit. And
Are people talking to him?
No, not really. A little bit saying what's up.
Yeah.
You
and
sound
he-
like a fangirl. Like
I was freaking out. I had my closest girlfriends of 20 years there. They were working the Yonder packs, helping me out, volunteering. And then they
With the
were
phones.
sitting there, the phones,
Yeah,
locking
yeah.
up the phones for me, were volunteering their time. And then all of a sudden we're like 5 feet from Kanye West, like chilling, drinking our
I am
fucking
so not
tequila.
starstruck anymore. I was as a teenager.
Barry,
Continue.
if Burt Bacharach was there, you'd be fucking
That is
fainting.
true. That is true.
Then eventually
But he has one leg in the grave. Continue.
he got
Adele.
on stage, took some photos, hung out with, talked to Dave, back and forth, and then Busta Rhymes came, so
Cool.
the three of them were talking and chilling, now off the stage, whatever. And then 10 minutes passes by, I don't see him on the floor. I go into the green room office part, and the security security, Dave's security, standing outside. And I said, and I kind of pointed, like, they're like, oh, they're just having a meeting in there. But you can go in, darling, like to the...
A meeting in where?
So Dave Chappelle and Kanye were in the green room.
Oh,
Our
okay, in the
green room.
Ah, yes, where
The
we used to
green
record
room.
the podcast. Yes.
We used to record the podcast
Recall it.
right next door to my office. They're having a meeting, but you can go in there, darling. The security. I was like, I'm not going in there.
Sure. It's just them two?
Just them two.
You walk in, they're making out?
Imagine.
That's what happens in Hollywood, they say,
I-
right?
Hey, that's what I hear.
Yeah.
So they
No
walk.
disrespect.
I'll do
just kidding.
anything.
Sorry, I
Back
don't
to
want any
you,
trouble.
Adele.
So it's almost over. So 2 seconds later, you can go in there. I'm like, it's totally fine. I was going to put, refresh my lipstick. Like I wasn't really going in there for a reason. 2 seconds later, they walk out. Dave walks out, and not for nothing. Every time he sees me, he kind of lights up and smiles.
Does he have a nickname for you?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I
He's
thought
such a
I heard him
cool-
call you Boogie.
Yeah,
I
he
thought.
calls his manager Boogie.
Oh, okay.
He's
Yeah,
such a
cool.
cool
You're talking
dude,
to somebody
Dave,
else.
isn't he?
The
So
best.
he's so cool.
Numero uno, the best. The
Yeah.
best.
Did you watch his special yet? It came out today. You don't have Netflix. Continue.
Yes,
So-
I do. I do.
Yeah,
Oh, thank
Netflix,
you
you
for
gotta
telling.
watch it. It's
My
really
son
good.
gave me the
It's called-
password and all that
It's
shit.
called The Closer.
Yeah,
You should
thank-
check it out.
Thank you, Tom, for reminding me. Back
Dave,
to Adele.
Dave comes out and he sees me. He's like, "Thank you for everything. We're gonna get out of here." He goes, Dave, and it's like 3, which is early for him. I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I give him a hug. I'm like, "Thank you so much for thank you for doing these shows, and thank you for bringing Kanye West to my club."
Absolutely.
And as I'm saying that, Kanye's walking right behind him, and Dave turns around and he goes, Kanye, I want you to meet Adele. She's the manager here, and she's amazing." And Kanye looks at me, he smiles, "It's an honor to meet you." I said, "The honor is mine."
Oh, my Lord.
And then they...
Why are you touching Tom's wrist
Did
and
you?
stuff?
Because it's a magical moment
It's
for us,
magical.
Barry.
And then, okay, so then
I
they
think
go
there's a
up
love
the-
thing going
the
on
ki-
between you. Go ahead.
What are you trying to break up my marriage?
Oh,
She's
you
my
got,
friend.
You got married, Tom?
He's
We're engaged to
a
be
very
married.
Lovely
Congra-
woman, Alex. we love her.
Congratulations. But she's no Adele. Continue.
Oh, my
Back to
God.
Adele.
Not, she's better.
Hold on, hold
she's
on,
a better
hold on,
fit.
hold on,
Yeah.
hold on, hold on. Barry, listen, we could
Yeah.
have a lot of fun on this podcast today,
Yes.
and I'm glad you're here. But
Yeah.
please don't speak ill of my fiance. Okay.
I'm telling
hey,
you.
Hey,
Okay,
hey,
I think I met your fiance, right?
No, I think she gave you $1 once. Go ahead, continue.
She was
So
cheap.
you know the stand, how you can go up through the kitchen and get out. So
Uh-huh.
the security and Dave and Kanye and another security guard walk up those stairs because I wanted to really make sure they knew the front door was locked and they had to go out the fire escape. I go up the other way. So I come through the kitchen, they see me.
Yeah,
and
you're parkouring up.
And so I was like, I know this is weird, but I'm here now. And they all kind of have a laugh. And we're like, how the fuck did you? I was like, I came up I just wanted to make sure you guys can get out.
Sure.
Adele's not sounding like a professional
Yeah,
GM at all,
I was
man.
It's 3
spazzing
o'clock
out.
in the morning. You got to go, that's
Yo.
how this,
I
that's
was spazzing out a little bit,
Yo.
but they got a kick out of it. I was being super quirky, just awkward, but
Sure.
they got it. And then I walk them outside. They kind of needed my guidance because the door was locked and we were getting people out the other door and there was no one upstairs.
Yo.
There was a photographer outside. Kanye and Dave stopped. Kanye said he can take a picture, which was cool. And then
So you got a picture with Kanye.
no.
Okay,
no.
kept
Do you have a
professional.
house photographer at all?
I don't have a house photographer.
Gotcha.
Dave Chappelle has a photographer that travels with him. So right after the paparazzi guy took a
The
picture.
Candyman, I believe.
Candyman took a few shots of them outside, and they both left.
I got a great
their
house
car.
photographer for you if you're interested off air.
You know what we like to do with photographers? Have 10 of them, meaning just
Gotcha.
let multiple people try.
That way they don't have to
everything.
pay them, Barry. And
No, that's
they can
not
just
why.
have.
That's not why. Because there's so many volunteering, so we just don't abuse one and
Yeah,
not pay
exactly. But
them.
that's what I'm saying. That's the way to do it. You
That's
got
what
all
we do,
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You photo credit them and.
So you
Yeah,
don't
good
need
luck.
one for the list. You have enough, right? Because I
can-
know.
I'm happy to add another one to the list. Sure.
Yeah,
why not?
he's really a nerd and
Is
he
his
loves
name
comedy.
is his name Shmary Shribs? And does he have a Kodak camera?
Shout out to
And does he look
Andrew
like-
Gold. You know, is Andrew Gold on your list?
I don't think so.
He loves comedy and shit, and he's very lonely.
Nice.
Okay, well, listen, I think that's a good place to start. So he loves comedy, you love comedy, I love comedy. Adele
You
Yes.
love
loves
comedy, right?
I do, and it's funny your top 9 list. I was like, I could never make this list because
I made one. I made one on the way here.
Oh.
What is
What's your background or foray into comedy? Like, are you a performer?
I mean, I feel.
But
like
don't make it as long as the
it's a
Kanye
long
shit.
I started in comedy. Yes, I was doing comedy at Broadway Comedy Club in 2010.
Did you know me years ago at all?
Maybe 2010 is when I started.
To the point, did you ever see me around or just at the stand?
I think I've seen you at Broadway.
That means no. Continue.
You're a Broadway guy.
Yeah, Al Martin is my first home club owner, so to
Al
speak.
Martin, yeah, he's.
But that
he's
was at
a
New York
charisma.
Comedy Club
I
before
did work.
Emilio. I started in '94, so I considered New York Comedy Club my first home club.
You started in 1994.
Yes.
Okay.
It'll be 28 years in February if
about
you're doing
that?
the math.
Now, did you when you started?
But we didn't finish with Adele
No,
yet.
that's the story. Yeah, I started
She
in Broadway Comedy
she
Club.
did comedy
the
a little.
stand open, and then I just transitioned.
She's such a
into
nice fucking
management.
person for this grimy business.
I mean,
And great teeth. Back to you, Tom.
Thank you, Barry. So you started stand-up comedy in 1994.
Yes.
That's a long time. I
Yes.
started in 2008.
Yes.
Now, my question to you is,
Yes.
from when you started in 1994, did you never stop? My God, he almost did a spit take.
I stopped actually in the beginning 3 times for different reasons. I'll only say the first time.
No, please tell me the 3 reasons.
No.
This is like a WTF
the
today.
public will have to buy a future book if there's a market.
Okay,
You
yes.
feel me?
The Barry Ribs memoir.
Yes.
Spare time.
I'll only tell you the first time my son was 5 to 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
My dream was to be a road comic. I was emotionally connected to him, and what's so funny about that?
It's hilarious that you're
Obviously,
saying you're emotionally connected to
to
your
your
son, you
son.
fucking psychopath. Of course you are. He's your son.
Yeah, but we're estranged now. But that'll be in a future book also.
But
I'm
you
not
got his
giving-
Netflix password.
Yeah, when we've had an in and out.
Ups and downs.
We've had an ups and downs, not in and out. That would be weird.
You don't have the HBO Max password. I get it.
Anyways, so I dropped out for 2 reasons at that point.
And what
I
year
got-
is this at this point when you dropped out?
I took off 95 because I got a real job from New York City.
Doing what?
I was driving a bus in Brooklyn for like MTA. So at that time,
You were in an MTA bus driver.
Can I finish any of these answers? Adele, can you tame this motherfucker?
Sometimes in a conversation, Barry, in a podcast, people, it's like a tete-to-tete.
Okay,
you know?
so I'll slow down. Go ahead. So what's your question?
You were an MTA bus driver.
Yes.
Okay, continue.
So you chose stability over your dream, basically. You chose a union job that had insurance and paid you.
Yo, Adele, it was
your
the first
family.
time I had like a real. Do they see the fingers?
The video people do. Barry's doing an ear mark.
I had a
thing.
real job with like like you said.
Yeah.
I never had that before.
Now, how did you get fired from that job?
And it's true. I got into a few bus crashes.
Oh my God.
Tom, you're good. You kind of know me, but don't know me.
Yeah.
That's good, Tom.
I fucking know you, Barry. But go ahead.
So I got the real job, and
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, I was so in love with my son. I could not see myself being a road warrior away from him.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my first dropout. But if you're the real comedians that are watching this know that you could only leave for a short time. You are going to come back.
Shout out to the real comics.
Yeah, because there's a lot of other kind of comedians that have come into the game.
Ain't that the truth?
But I got my blinders on. I don't give a fuck about, but I do give a fuck.
when did you lose your vision?
I I give a fuck for those who call themselves doing the craft of stand-up when they have no fucking punchlines. Back to you both.
So you become a bus driver in 1995.
That
you,
is,
you
exactly.
you crashed the bus a couple times.
That is true.
When are you no longer a bus driver? What year?
Um,
Is it 95 to
they-
95?
yeah, they kind of they fired me just before Thanksgiving of '95, and I was fucking depressed.
Rude.
You didn't even finish your bus route.
Yo, Adele, he said to me, I know it's holidays, blah blah. You know, tried to lighten it up for me to crash. I forget the expression.
Yeah.
He. What am I trying to say, Adele? Try to ease
Big
the.
you up
when you
before
have to
you figure it
fire people, how do you try to be nice to them?
He
before you
tried to
fire them?
ease me down.
Yeah. I'll like throw him a couple compliments before I tell him it's over.
So you know what? He eased me down, and then
Okay.
yeah, you get the idea.
Oh, it's
And I was
horrible.
depressed, and I was married at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that was one of a number of depressions. Shout out to my therapist.
That poor woman.
No, it's a man therapist.
So
I met your
28
wife.
years. 28 years. Give
This
with a couple breaks.
All right. No, wait.
Thank
So
you,
you
Adele.
start
Yes.
comedy in 94.
Yes.
You're a bus driver in 95.
Yes.
Now it's November 95. You're going right back into comedy? Or do you try to get
Yeah.
another job?
Oh, that's a good question. I really don't know what I did after I got canned, but I stayed home depressed for a while, and I was married. And shout out to the wives that will not let their dudes just screw off. She got me back to work. Shout out to ex-wives and shit.
For sure.
Yeah, so I forget what I did.
I'm glad you didn't throw up there. I'm glad that was just a little water burp.
I-
So,
You could have let that
although
go.
the view, I mean, listen, I'm not letting anything go anymore, okay?
I mean,
Adele,
clearly.
this is my life. Do you understand? It's serious.
Yo, you put stand in there. That's a little pandering. Did you notice? Understand? Did you know?
No, that's not what happened, Barry.
No, you are mentally ill, but I love you.
Oh, by the way, the stand, I was thinking about this, not knowing you were here and you're the stand person. I'm talking to Adele right now.
I'm in the fucking room, you old fuck. I can hear you.
Adele, they talk about the cellar, but I think in the same sentence, they should talk about the stand also in that sort of thing. Back to both of you.
Yeah, and they should also talk about New York Comedy Club because that's where I perform, and I am the greatest comedian of all.
And that's
Anyway,
a terrific place that they
another
don't
great
they don't
place.
book me there either. Shout out to shout out to not being booked there. Thank you.
Where are you getting up these days?
Well, this Thursday,
Who's
I'm
showing you
flying to
love?
Chicago.
Oh.
I'm doing a weekend with DL Hughley at the
You open for
Improv.
DL a lot.
It'll be my 11th time.
Nice.
So I'm very excited because I've been with DL 10 times before, but never an airplane gig. So on the plane, I'm going to probably masturbate from excitement. I'm sorry, Adele. Did I say something wrong?
You're fine. You're being
Thank
funny.
you.
I think we should get into this list, bro.
No, it's
It's
not
bruh.
important.
It's
the list's
bruh.
not really important anymore. What do you mean? We have Barry. Barry's talking about his life. We're going to get to the list. That's
Are we
fine.
finished yet?
Also, he's doing top 9 comedians. We're not going to just talk about these comedians on his
Yeah.
list. Relax. We are a little bit. We got plenty of time.
Yo,
Take it
this
easy.
this list, after you asked, I never thought you were going to ask for a list. It was very quick, but I also put on the list 200 honorable, easy 200. Yo, these freaking lists that
Yeah.
come out from time to time are absolutely insane. And one more thing, because Adele wants to get to the list.
Sure.
She said bruh or bro.
Did you say bro?
She said bro, but it's
Oh.
bruh. Isn't it bruh?
You say bruh. White people say bro.
Gotcha. So the thing is this. I was thinking about this also today.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody goes with the same Mount Rushmore of comedy, and I think you both could agree. There are so many others, but people are fucking cheap. They always say Carlin and Pryor and Eddie Murphy, let's say.
Sure.
There are so many more, and I'm an authority on this shit because I've been around the block a little bit.
Sure.
You could say the Mount Rushmore is 5. You could do 15, 25s easily, but people are fucking cheap. Back to you both.
Oh,
Okay.
It's true. It's hard to pick.
So we haven't even said it yet. I mean, people see it on the description. Your top 9 is your top 9 favorite stand-up comedians.
You said top nine great comedians, I think you called it?
Your top 9 stand-up comedians.
What did you ask me to, what was the exact phraseology?
Your top 9 comedians. Pretty sure that's what I said. Top 9 stand-ups.
Yeah, but easily I could have 90 more. I'm putting another 9 in there.
The podcast isn't called Top 90, Barry. It's called Top 9.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so Adele wants to get to the list.
So this is top 9 stand-up comedians from Barry Ribs.
So we're going to go with 9 and work downwards.
Correct.
And so number 9 would be a dude named Bobby Collins.
Okay.
And I'll say why.
Mm-hmm.
He, aside from the obvious being funny, he's also appreciative of his fan base. He just doesn't take, he shouts them out, shows them love. He's fan friendly. A lot of comedians do not have that at all. So he is my role model in that sense. I've been following him a long time, and we are friends, so to speak. Friends are thrown around in comedy. He's a friend, and he's my role model on how to after the show, as Adele knows and Tom know, a lot of comedians don't even give a fuck to commiserate with the people who are your customers who fucking give you a Metro card, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he sells out theaters, man. Bobby Collins.
Bobby Collins,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's
Even too close.
beloved, and his fan base is loyal to him because people want to fucking be appreciated, and most comedians do not have that ethic, if you will.
Yeah.
I understand. No, that's interesting, Barry, and I think that I like the way you're doing this list because I thought it was going to be just like who you thought were the absolute best comedians, just with the craft. But you're incorporating.
Excuse me,
Hold on,
Tom.
hold on. Take it easy. But I'm saying I knew you were going to take insult to that when I'm complimenting you.
Yeah,
When I say I like
understand.
how you're saying, can I finish?
Yes, Tom.
I like how you're saying part of the reason why he's one of your favorites is because of the way he interacts with his fan base, which is very important. And what I've learned is in comedy, it's nice to be funny, but if you don't have a fan base, you might as well just live in New Jersey.
Your barometer is good. Your judgment, the way you're like, you know.
Yeah,
I'm
but
saying I
this
like
should
that.
surprise you because I'm a deep thinker. I live and breathe comedy.
I didn't say it surprised me. I said I
got you.
like the way that you're
Okay.
doing
He's
it.
appreciating
So
it.
Bobby Collins is number 9, funny guy.
You could
and you
tell
like
he's
the
like,
way-
he walked into the stand. I was like, you're famous or somebody. Like those teeth, the tan. He had like a lot.
People have auras, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has
He-
like a
he's a-
performance or a, yeah.
He's a
Star.
natural.
He's a
sweet-
star.
and he's a sweetheart of a. He's just a
He's
sweetheart.
70 years old, too.
No, he's about 60, 62.
I just Googled
think
it.
he's
He's 70
older.
years old.
Also, so in other words, sometimes they have those fake ages
yeah.
or some shit.
And for the record, I think he's a babe. So.
A hot
Yeah,
70-year-old.
yeah.
So, Barry, you got a chance with Adele. She likes older men. She's
I like
looking for a
younger men.
boyfriend. Yeah, he turned 70 on September 21st. Happy birthday, Bobby.
Happy birthday, Bobby.
How old are you, Barry?
I'm between 50 and deceased.
Okay.
Yeah.
Set you up on that one. Coming in at number 8.
Who's your number 8?
Okay. I'm going to have to go with a dude named Brooklyn Mike,
Okay. I know him.
who is pretty much known on what we call the urban comedy wing of comedy, which I started this December 19 years ago. And I shout him out because watching him and driving him around. What's so funny, Tom?
It's a comedy podcast, Barry.
Gotcha.
You saying driving him around made me laugh. It's like driving Miss Daisy.
You look
But
a
like
little
the
like
reverse.
somebody famous, Adele. You have a little.
Barry, stay on
Anyway.
the point.
Gotcha. So I gave him a shout out for 2 reasons.
Mhm.
Watching him, and I think comedians watch other comedians and maybe sample consciously or subconsciously. I watched him how he would take a tough crowd, and by the time he finished, it was so-called standing ovation, and that's from years of reps. And he's a true comedic artist, man. And as you both know, there are hundreds of Brooklyn Mikes in this country that never get their freaking due because perhaps he hasn't gotten into the mainstream
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, when I looked him up on YouTube, a lot of his clips were like in not really even necessarily clubs. There was no late night sets. It was a lot of like, you know, restaurants that turned into comedy clubs. Like the whole audience was lit in this one video. Like you could see every audience
He is-
member's face. There was
That was
practically no spotlight for this guy, but he did it. You know,
And,
yeah.
and Chris Rock on Sway or one of those shows kind of gave him a shout out. And, you know, if Chris says, yeah, Brooklyn Mike is one of my favorites, need I say more?
Absolutely. And, you know, I like how you brought it to the urban comedy scene. That's where I started. I started at the Laugh House in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I know you've been there. I would
Yes.
assume.
Shout out to Toure for getting me there.
Shout out to Toure.
Yeah.
He'd be in my top 9, I think. If he's not, he's in there. Probably. He's not because I made my top 9, but he just missed it. He's probably 10. I love Toure.
Yeah.
But that's what's so cool about the urban community and what you said about him, like being able to turn a bad crowd. Because black crowds,
It's masterful, man.
my friend Chris
Masterful.
Cotton, rest in peace, always
Yeah,
said
rest in peace, Chris.
that black people are just naturally funnier. So like when they see a comedian, you better be funnier than like their friend, basically. So they're tougher to get, but when you get them, they give more. You have to. It's harder, but when they give it to you, I mean, nothing's better than a like Def Jam explosion from a
Yeah.
black crowd. That's
You're
why I
right.
got into this business.
You're right, Tom.
Yeah, and I like nothing more than like an older black guy being like, "Good job, young fella." That's why I got in this business,
Gotcha.
and that was good. I like that. Coming in at number
Are
7.
you grading all my fucking dissertations and stuff? Adele doesn't do that. She just gives me the chin. Yes. I may speak to Patrick Milligan on your behalf. Anyway, yeah.
My head nod said all of that
The
to
chin.
you.
The chin.
Coming in at
Glad
number
to see you, Adele, man. I had no fucking clue. Anyway,
Shut up. Coming in at number 7.
gotcha. I got to do Greer Barnes.
Greer Barnes,
So good.
hilarious.
Hilarious.
He's a bad motherfucker, man. In a respectful
Do I have
way.
to? Do I have to elaborate? Okay. Here's what I feel I have in common with him.
Lean in a little. Come this way a little.
I like that
No, I'm good.
angle.
I'm good,
Okay.
Tom. Thank you.
Yeah, just a touch.
Greer Barnes has classic bits, and crowds at the cellar come back to hear that over again.
And that's what you have in common with him?
Well, my jokes, a lot of them I write for sort of classic sort of jokes,
Mhm.
and people know some of my jokes. So I think.
And you've been locked in a cellar before.
What's that?
Forget it.
Is there a bell for corny? So, and Greer,
Uh-huh.
Greer, like Brooklyn Mike in a way, doesn't get, like, comedy lovers know Greer Barnes, but like most comedians, the public don't know 99% of us unless you're mainstream and you've been on TV and done like Chris Rock does the Academy Awards, blah, blah, blah. But we in comedy and the audiences know Greer Barnes. And I just love him. Everybody loves Greer.
Yeah, I like how he's a man too. A lot of comedians these days. I don't know if I'm a man. Like he's like a man. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Elaborate.
Like a man's man.
He's a real man. Like, also he very funny. Such a great stand-up. I loved him in. Did you see that damn Michael Che show? He plays Michael Che's father in flashbacks.
I didn't see it.
And there's just this one scene where he's talking to Michael Che's brother, and he's like, "Your mom got pregnant, and I thought it would be a good time to see the world." And nothing's made me laugh harder this year than when he said that in that show. So it was cool to see when you say people might not know who he is. He's acting in a lot of things, and he's doing a great job. So yeah, he's great.
And he's a great stand-up to watch. I've noticed the audiences just hanging on every word.
Yeah, he's got a great voice.
I only saw him have one offset
Uh-huh.
because he was getting a little bit angry and political, and perhaps he inserted it from up top, and it didn't work.
It happens, but for the most part, he's always.
Well, everybody. I mean,
He's
it's
always
There's only-
grand slam, yo.
absolutely. And it's good to not do good sometimes. Coming in at number 6.
No, we're up to 7, I think, right?
No, we just did 7.
9, 8, 7, yes.
6.
6, we're going to go. Wow. I'm going to go with Dave Attell.
Okay.
Love Dave.
One of
He has
Adele's
he has a
favorites.
nickname for me. He calls me A.
Okay.
I love it.
A.
A.
Such a tight joke writer. Unbelievable.
I'm going to go with Attell
Mm-hmm.
because you were watching clips of Brooklyn Mike, and I'm not a content person in general, but sometimes I go back and watch Attell clips when he pretty much started, and I don't know when he got some of these gifts. I have no idea. I haven't followed him from the beginning, but I got a feeling he was so in another league when his first 5 years. He was doing such great shit, and his jokes, I noticed, still hold up today.
Yeah.
That is incredible because normally your first 5 years, your jokes suck fucking balls.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just one of the greatest joke writers ever. And yet the general public have no clue who the fuck he is.
I don't think that's necessarily true. I mean, I don't. He's not like a household name like Kevin Hart or something like that. But like, I think
Yeah.
a lot of people know
I think
who
a lot
he
of people
is.
know who he is. I know that because
From, like,
when they
Insomniac.
introduce him, the crowd
Mhm.
goes freaking wild.
Yeah. and
But those
So,
but that's comedy people.
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah. There's
well, the general public doesn't care about comedy. Yeah, no. I always know that from Jeopardy. Because one time I was watching Jeopardy, they had a picture of Dave Chappelle,
Oh,
and they
wow.
were like, "This guy won the Mark Twain Award," and nobody knew it.
Oh, yeah.
And he's a household name, so of course, I mean, a lot of people don't care.
oh, and one more
That's
thing.
okay.
And one more thing.
Just one more.
As you both would agree, when Adele started, this comedy community was not saturated. You had more opportunities because I hung out at the Comedy Store in LA in the 70s. There was compared to now, there was hypothetical numbers. There was 10 comics compared to 1,000 now. There was much more opportunities in the 70s. When Attell started, I guess he started in the 80s, and that was one of the booms. The 70s was a boom. The 80s was a boom.
Why didn't you start comedy in the 70s? Like, did you have it in the back of your mind?
Great question. I was like Adele, but as a man, I was a fanboy of comedy. I practically lived at the Comedy Store. I was intimidated by Robin Williams, Gary Shandling, and I'm of that generation. I'm more or less Shandling, rest his soul.
I'm a little upset Shandling didn't make the list, to be honest with you.
Yo, you said
Hey,
9.
everybody
You
can't
didn't
make
say
it.
fucking 90, Tom.
Everybody can't make it. I get it.
There you go. So anyway, I was so intimidated by what I saw. Shout out to Barry Diamond, obscure name, Johnny Dark. Robin, I saw once. Shandling saw many times. And if you ever have me back, well, you're not going to have me back because this is a 9 list or whatever.
Yeah. And regardless, but
Unless you wanted another 9, then have me back because I can talk better.
I'm going to have to take a long shower after this episode.
So the answer why I was intimidated by that greatness, and I felt that my gift was an eye for talent, and I worked in a couple of agencies, but that's another story for a future book if there's a market.
Sure.
Should we go to the list again?
Coming in, the last thing I'll say about Attell, a lot of people steal people's like style or like cadence and stuff. People like steal Attell's like joke structure almost, or like the way he writes jokes or something. It's so weird. I can't even really put it into words. But anyway, coming in at number 5.
Wow. Okay, so we did that one. Okay, I'm going to go with Brian Scott McFadden.
Okay.
Brian Scott McFadden, like, as I described the others so far, is a comedic artist, incredible fucking writer, storyteller. He is, like him and so many others, he's due other levels of fame and fortune, and he's one of the few also that I could laugh like a civilian, which when you become a comedian, I find myself cannot laugh with reckless abandon like I did pre my career.
I got you.
When I laugh, when I laugh now, it's ha or some weird, but I do kind of laugh from the gut with Brian and a few others that we know.
I feel that way about DeStefano when I watch his stand up. Chris,
you laugh at Chris?
I feel like I'm like I remember one time I was like, oh, I remember why I like was a fan of comedy, like Che
With
sometimes
Chris,
too.
Chris?
Yeah.
I laugh at Vecchione because see his mind is like his mind is different than his comedic mind. Like I said to you both, I have an eye for talent. That's one of my many gifts.
Broadway Danny Rose.
Vecchione, I love his fucking mind, and he would have been like number 10, so to speak.
I know what you mean. Sometimes, like on the list of like Brian Scott McFadden or like Mike Vecchione, like these are people that are like similar in that you like their joke writing and they make you remember why you're a fan of comedy.
No, don't put words in my mouth,
I also
Tom.
think that. Well, I am putting words
Don't
into your mouth.
put words in my mouth.
I also think of them as like.
I was telling Adele, who's
think of
more
them as, like-
rational, that Vecchione has a mind like no other. The way he sees the world. Brian Scott, I don't label him that way.
I think of them both as like working class comedians, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And they're very funny.
They could be anybody. They're like regular Joes, but like.
This very funny shit is so hacky to say. It's a given that working comedians are fucking funny.
I didn't say working. I said working class. Like, like
Working
the John
class.
Lennon song.
Like
Working
blue-
Class Hero.
like blue collar,
something to
like
be.
a blue collar, right?
Yes.
I did look him up and I watched his Letterman set.
I did too on the way over here.
Really
Yeah.
funny. And one of the jokes reminded me of something someone would say
Oh, so
to
he's
you.
not at the stand.
Someone said to
doesn't-
me?
He doesn't do the stand. Adele?
Someone would say to you.
What was that?
And I never repeat jokes, but he said,
Uh-huh.
a woman once said to me, you look better, you get better looking as I get to know you.
Ah, yes. Well, thank you.
So, Adele,
I think it's hilarious.
It is
I
funny.
can't get a word with Adele now. I thought Adele liked
Did
me
you
and
hear
shit.
that?
Hey, I
You
said
get-
put your cup over here, old man.
Over there. Yeah.
Did you hear that? You get better looking as
I
I,
heard-
get to
I
know
heard it.
you.
And by the way-
Meaning
Yes,
like
it's funny.
your personality's making up for everything.
By the way, when you smile, you look a little Asian. You got Asian blood?
She does.
I do. I do. I'm part Japanese. Yeah, my mom is half Japanese. I have a
He's about to ask for a massage in a second. His eyes just lit up.
All right. All
Anyway,
right.
So you know what bacalhau is?
No.
I
We
think
don't
that's,
got
I
time.
think that's crazy in Japanese.
We
Shout
don't
out
got-
to Japanese
we don't-
bacalhau.
we don't.
So you don't book Brian Scott McFadden?
No.
Barry, I'm gonna throw water on you.
Gotcha.
Coming in at number 4.
Yes. I'll go with Jessica Curson.
Okay,
Oh.
another one of Adele's favorites.
I don't think there's a funnier. I'm sorry to separate, but we have to separate.
Sometimes
okay?
you have to.
Jessica Curson. I can't imagine a funnier woman in America than Jessica Curson.
Hmm.
Yeah, her delivery is everything. She gives 110% every fucking time. And that's what I love about her performances.
Yeah.
And I think she'll never. I think I shouldn't say this, but I don't think you'll ever see her bomb because she has too many skills.
Yeah.
Something I really appreciate about her, she, obviously very funny, like everybody on the list. But
Why
like,
are you saying funny, man? That's so. I'm sorry. Go ahead. It's your pod.
I like how she like rolls on laughter. Like she makes waves out of more. Like she's really good at needling something to like. It's already funny, but like the needling of when she's in the zone is really good. And there's just like it's almost like a jazz rant or like a jazz set of like it's just like laughs on top of laughs on top of laughs, and that's what I appreciate about her,
And-
among other things.
Yo, you got to give. He has some intelligence. He doesn't look it.
I'm a student of comedy, Barry.
But let me point out something else you may have missed.
Please. Why'd you move the cup again?
Oh yeah,
What is this?
I'm having a good fucking time. Thanks for having me. Anyway.
Thanks for coming.
You know what I like? And I think Adele, you started doing stand-up first, right, Adele? The greats can freestyle, and she'll be just in the fucking moment, and it's like,
Yeah.
what's I didn't finish.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. That's from the urban thing. Mhm. She can just break her stop with the set, and get in the moment.
Yeah.
That's why she's at that level, because you don't get to that level by fucking accident. Mhm.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, stand-up isn't in the moment. That's the whole point of it. And, you know, Netflix specials are nice, HBO's nice, but the actual, what it really is being in the room and living in the moment.
Exactly. And
Just
she's
like
a-
this is like living in the moment.
That's
You
true.
gotta
And
live in
she's
the
a
moment.
master, but, yo, Tom, she's got a lot of reps under her belt. So when you get booked a lot, those reps, you have to do the reps, man. That's how you keep going up levels and shit.
Yeah, shout
And
out to my best friend, Sam Rubinoff. Back in the day, he used to say, I need somewhere to develop. You got to develop.
Yo, I just had two young comedians just hit me up. They're always hitting me up from time to time. How do you get stage time? Yo, how did I get stage time? I mean, what can I tell you? Anyway,
Coming in at number 3.
are we up to number 3?
Mhm.
Oh, it is. Wow, the last 3. Come on, yo, I can't, but I'll have. Okay. I know this is weird, but I just discovered this dude last year. I would go with Jim Brewer.
Okay.
Jim Brewer.
I know you hate the word, but
Yeah.
funny. That is really what he is. He's funny.
You got to come
Sometimes
up
you
with
just
something
gotta-
else, Tom. This is
No,
your podcast,
But
man.
the great thing about a really good stand-up sometimes is you could just like look at them and they're funny. You know what I mean? It's just like I look at Jim Brewer and I'm like, this guy's funny. Even before he talks.
I look fun? Do I look funny? I look funny?
You have that same energy.
You look scary.
Do I look funny?
Yes.
You look like you'd show me your dick on the train,
No.
which could be funny.
Yo, some dude did it. I got scarred for life. Dude did it on a bus when I was a kid, man, with the trench coat shit.
I saw a homeless guy pissing on my corner today
Gotcha.
All right.
in
Big
Queens.
deal.
Yeah, crazy stuff. Anyway,
Adele,
Jim
you
Brewer.
have Brewer at the stand at all?
I believe you. Yeah, he was at the other location. He hasn't been.
Well, again, when you get to that level, all Jim Brewer has to do is go there.
Yeah.
They'll recognize him and say, "Come on up, Jim."
See, with Brewer, especially now,
Seems like a good man too.
I agree. Tom, you and I could kind of be friends, I think.
We are friends, Barry.
We are? Okay. Brewer went public. He was going to cancel dates because of venues requiring the Vax card. Did you see that at all, Adele?
No.
So he did his own.
I didn't know this was going to turn into an anti-vax rant, but I should have known.
So when you say
Are you
he's a man,
vaccinated?
yeah, but I get turned off. A lot of places say, we got to see your card. I make a U-turn. I spend my money somewhere else.
That's every restaurant in New York City has to do that, honey. It's not
She
their
called
choice.
me honey. Is that a meat-free charge?
No. He got
Yo,
the,
how can they say honey, but I can't say fucking honey?
He got the Jim Johnson vaccine. I don't know if you've ever heard of that one.
Brewer? Okay.
But
So,
anyway.
so Brewer, like you said, is a man's man, and that was his
I didn't say
position.
that. I said he was a
He
good
said
man.
Greer was a man's man.
He said, you're right.
Yeah.
Brewer, I like the fact, and this, hopefully comedians are watching this because they can go to school between me and you.
Mm-hmm.
No offense, Adele. To have a point of view and make it funny, that's top dog shit. And Brewer is a master at that. I never do political or anything. I'm Barry. I talk about the ills of society, et cetera, et cetera. But the dudes that tackle, like, say, Chappelle, Brewer, I don't know if Patrice is on my list. I don't know if I'm not that familiar with Patrice's stuff. He was supposedly the misogyny king, so to speak. But we'll get to Patrice in a second. Can we move on, or
Sure. Coming in at number 2?
I got to do Patrice?
Okay. You just said you're not that familiar with his work.
But I did watch.
Elephant in the Room?
I watched that special.
Okay.
And it's okay with you, Tom?
I love that
Thank you.
special. One of the best.
And I've watched, like Adele, not to steal your thunder, I watched clips also of him. And every comic that knows Patrice knows he is one of the Mount Rushmores. And not to sound like everyone else, if he was still alive, you got to put him in the conversation of top 5 Mount Rushmores. I don't give a fuck what people think. This is what I think. So
A lot of people would agree with you.
Yeah.
A lot of people would agree with you. Most comics I've ever talked to, the whole stand with our whole philosophy is about Patrice O'Neal's styling of comedy, that cringe-worthy, say the things that everyone else is thinking by making it funny. It's not mean, it's funny. That's the whole vibe.
yeah. Can we move to number 1?
I love Patrice. Yeah, he's one of the best ever.
He's from Philly, right?
No.
Oh,
Boston.
Boston.
Boston guy. And misogyny, I just think that he just had a strong opinion on women. And some people
And their
blame that
fucking
misogynistic.
But see, to your
But I don't-
point, sorry to interrupt, to your point, the ones who are fearless and true to themselves,
Yeah.
they know they're not going to, if he loses a certain percentage of chicks that don't have a sense of humor, see, that's the thing about him.
Mm-hmm.
He's just going to be himself. I'm trying each year to even go there, so to speak,
Yeah.
because most comedians
You're
want
a
to
good
just
example of maybe trying to be a little less like yourself. I'm kidding. Coming in at number 1.
Number
This is
1.
Barry Rib's favorite comedian.
It has to be Dave Chappelle.
Okay.
And in general, there's only a few that I could say that I watched from the beginning, and I'm not going there, Adele. I just discovered
Like,
him.
do you remember Chappelle in '94 when you started comedy? Like, do you remember him being a young kid in New York?
No.
Okay.
Honestly, no.
I want you to be honest.
Honestly, no. Just like I didn't see Chris Rock from the beginning and many others. And I own that. Now, since I started in '94, a lot of the dudes starting out, whether it's Matt Richards or Nico White, I could say I was there.
Nico White was born in 1994, probably.
So,
Yeah.
he's doing it 14 years and he's 28, which is kind of Chappelle-like, so to speak.
Sure. Nico White was a former guest on the show, and so was Matt Richards. Both very funny African-American comedians.
I love them both on
from
and
New York City.
I love them both on and off. But back to Chappelle.
Please.
When I ran in, and I think you know which special that was, with the little child and the drug buy in the projects or
The
something.
baby, yeah, killing him softly.
Did you see that, Adele? That's fucking masterful, yo. I became a
Yeah.
fan of that.
Mm-hmm.
I've met him a few times. I even went over to him when he was getting into the SUV on McDougal. Excuse me. I'm just trying to paint a picture.
Am I not
Shout
allowed
out to
to
Greer
laugh?
Barnes. That's the Greer Barnes influence.
Okay.
Oh no, it was a little more. He went into Mamoon's. I don't want to get into his business. I think he bought a falafel.
Let's not get
But
too
I don't think-
controversial.
I don't think he goes for the tahini sauce. That's white. That may be a little racist.
Okay.
It just might be. Might be.
Okay. That's what you use as aftershave, right?
So I went over to Dave, and this, you guys, Adele knows it, Dave, and you've met Dave. You know Dave a little bit.
I don't know him at all. No.
So this
I
is
would
the
think that my co-host maybe, hey, this is my friend
this is
Tom.
the character. Adele will get this, so to speak. There's no more water in there.
Dummy. It's blocking the table. It has nothing to do with the water.
So I went over to Dave, and Dave likes to party, as you know, and he's leaving Mamoon's, and I said, Dave, I want to tell you something. You carry the mantle in a good way. Like, you are the man. You know what I was trying to say? And I'm not a fanboy and shit, because I'm an older dude. Like, I've seen everybody starting out, basically. So I was a fanboy as a teenager, but I'm not anymore. I said, Dave, you carry the mantle of being that dude. You carry it well. And he turned around and looked me in the eyes, and he really appreciated that. I got chills saying that, so maybe I still have a little fanboy.
Sure.
Yeah, Nori Davis
Or maybe it's cold in here, maybe?
calls him Papa Smurf.
That's funny. Nori Davis is another great comedian.
Dave is such a sweetheart of
He
a
really is.
dude, man.
He is. He's a
He's a
great
good guy.
man, great comedian.
Can I go now?
You can. Where can the people find you, Barry?
Technically, your list is over, so you can go. But why don't you say goodbye and
I'm just kidding and stuff, because I could stay here but I know you wouldn't want me here.
What? Where can the people find you, Barry? Great list, great episode. Thanks for coming.
I get booked.
I meant your Twitter and Instagram.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
where can they find the info to find out where you're
Okay.
from? Like your
Yeah, thank you,
Twitter?
Adele.
You're welcome.
Instagram, Barry_ribs.
Mm-hmm.
Twitter. My manager's got me on TikTok.
Nice.
And I'm on XNXX Porn.
It's for another episode.
Shout out to Elsa Jean, who she and I may do a podcast together. And nobody virtually has me on clubs. I just did a spot at Gotham because I knew the host or whatever. Broadway Comedy Club was booking me like a motherfucker, and that dried up because, as Adele and Tom know, there's reasons why us bottom level, so-called bottom level, we sometimes don't get booked, but I got a bunch of things going on now that I think next year some clubs may want to book me, and I'll remember the clubs that We're not supposed to go there.
I
but
just needed your Twitter handle.
Patrice would have gone there and said shit. He would burn a bridge or whatever. But
Just needed that. Well, listen, I think you're a very funny stand-up comedian. I know you don't like the word funny, but I think you're a good stand-up comedian. And that's all that really matters. So it's all going to work out. Unless
why
you die.
good, Tom? Why do you fucking underrate me? Can't you say a good to great?
I said funny stand-up comedian.
And you said good.
It's a compliment.
You said good.
I didn't say good. I said you're a very
Yeah,
funny.
go back to the tape. He said good. Adele, he did not say good to great.
All right, well, I'm not comfortable saying great. It's
Gotcha.
also kind of disrespectful that you didn't put Kevin Brennan on your list. The guy put you on the map. Adele, where can the people find you?
Come to the stand. You guys should subscribe to the stand's mailing list. That's how our beloved clients found out about Chappelle. We emailed them first, so
That's
subscribe to our mailing list.
You can only promote the stand if I get sponsored like
Well, that's
once every 6 months.
It's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah,
I'm hosting you guys
what's
at
your
the stand.
What's your Twitter?
Okay, it's LAVORO,
On
Lavoro.
Instagram. I'm just kidding. Thank you to the stand.
Adele.
It's a lovely
Follow
institution.
me. I just hit 3,000 followers because
Look at
Legion
you.
of Skinks put my Instagram up during a podcast, but
Oh, nice.
no shame in my game. And it was fun. And
No.
I watched my followers grow.
That's great. When you miss an episode, you're still allowed to promote the episode, just so you know.
Okay.
Okay, because you're a co-host of the podcast.
Okay.
All right. And I love the stand-up. Just kidding. I hope, Barry, it's confusing sometimes
Yes.
as a stand-up because, you want someone to put you up, You get it. You're a pariah, but you're funny and you love comedy. And all you want is just a little love back.
Well,
and that's all we really want at the end of the day,
But
right,
Tom,
Barry?
sometimes some of us have to go in a different direction.
Cut his mic. Listen.
Because I'm older too, and you know what I mean. And I've dealt with
Absolutely.
age discrimination year one from a club, and I've done the club 9 times since.
Well,
Because now I bring it.
You've been old for a long time.
And Adele, I just want to say, not to kind of whatever, because I don't really suck up on. I'm glad you are in the comedy biz. I got love for you. You've been very nice to me.
Yeah.
I don't think when I was at the stand you would smile, but you were very nice to me. Okay.
Busy.
I'm usually really stressed out at work. It's not you, it's me.
You were nice. I think you knew I was at the Brennan Roast with Tom. I don't mean to drop names. Did you know I was at the Brennan Roast?
No.
Thank you very much, Adele.
She's keeping it real, Barry. You got to keep it real.
Yes.
TomCassidy.com.
Yes.
We finally got another review on our Apple, so that was cool. Thank you, Ryan. And last episode, we had the most listens we ever had on Apple. So
I think
thank you
people are
for
going to love this
listening.
one. People are going to love because of me, I think. If I may say, I'm not a narcissist or whatever.
Can I do my plugs?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go back to you.
So, if you do listen to it, please write a review because it just helps us. It's free. It would help us out a lot. And then subscribe on YouTube. Those numbers have been a little low lately. I don't know what's going on over there. But we appreciate you. Top 9 Pod on Instagram and Twitter, at Cassidy Comedy. And this has been a fun episode. Thank you, Barry. Thank you, Adele.
Thank you both for having me,
Thanks
yo.
for listening, everyone.
See you next week. Top 9 Podcast, baby. Woo.